Hi and welcome to the BlackBerry developer video how to extend the screen. My name is Andre and I will walk you through this video today. We will start up with the overview of UI application. We will have a look at field class, manager class and screen class, and we will do two samples, Hello World sample and Advanced UI sample. UI application class is a base class for all applications that provide a user interface. UI application maintains a stack of screen objects. So the screen is the main user interface class. Only the screen on top of the stack can receive input events. In order to better understand the screen, we have to look at the field class first. Field is the basic component of the BlackBerry user interface. A field represents a rectangular region contained by a manager. It provides fundamental functionality for all field components. The field sizes itself according to its needs in the layout. You cannot instantiate the field directly, you have to use one of the provided specialized field components. If that's not enough, you can design your own custom fields, and to do so you must implement layout and paint methods. There are a lot of classes that extend field. We have bitmap field, button field, text field for instance, but the one that we want to have a closer look at is the manager field. Manager provides fundamental functionality for all field managers. Managers are the objects which we use to contain fields. We also use them to manage the layout of those fields. The various manager subclasses handle specific kinds of field layouts. You can also implement your own manager, and we need to extend manager class and implement methods sublayout, getPreferredWidth and getPreferredHeight. There are a number of classes which extend the manager class. For instance, we have horizontal field, which lays out the components horizontally. Then we have vertical field, which lays out the components vertically. And we have the screen class. Screen is the main user interface class. It is the base class for all the other screens. UI Engine pushes the screen onto the display stack. The users can see the information we provide them and use the controls we provide them. Once they are finished with the interaction, we pop off the screens. Each screen object has a delegate manager. That manager handles layout and scrolling for the entire screen. The classes that extend screen class are full screen and main screen, which actually use the full physical display on the device. And we have pop-up screen, which is extended by dialog and status classes, which are used to display different status updates or dialogues to the user. They do not take the full physical size of the display on the device. To demonstrate the basic usage of UI Engine, Field, Manager and Screen classes, we are going to build a Hello World sample. This is a Hello World sample. What we have here is class Hello World Demo, which extends our UI application. It has to implement a main method, which is the entry point in our application. And what we do here is we create the instance of itself and then enter the event dispatcher, which basically starts our application. When we create an instance of this application of this class, we basically want to push the screen. We have to create a new screen, and we do this in this line here. Hello World Screen is the class which extends the main screen. So this application will take the full screen and it will have a title. To set up a title, we used one of the fields provided, which is called label field, and we added the name Hello World Demo to that field. And we also specified how we want to display the information, for instance, that we want to use the whole width of the screen. The next line says the title, and after that what we did, we added 20 rich text fields to the screen. They all have the same text, Hello World, and after each one we added another type of field which is called separator field. This is just to demonstrate that the main screen actually has a vertical manager which will allow us to scroll through these fields vertically. If we have a look at the application itself, this is how it looks like. So at the top we can actually see that title bar, and then we can see that one and the other we have the rich text fields and the separators. If we go down, we can see that the manager allows us to scroll through these fields. To create an advanced UI sample which has a funky user interface, we will have to use a number of different methods and classes, such as push screen, push global screen. We will use background and border factories. We will add transparency to our application. We will create a custom fields, and we will use some buttons and field change listeners. Class extends screen extends UI application, implements the main method and pushes a global screen called ESS screen min. Global screen is a different type of screen. It is a screen which is displayed on top of all the other screens, even if the application is running in the background. The number 1000 that we used here as a parameter is showing the priority of this global screen. The lower the number is, the higher the priority. So ES screen min is our restored version of the screen. It extends pop-up screen, which means basically it will not use the full device's physical screen. When in the constructor of ES screen, since it extends pop-up screen, we have to call constructor of pop-up screen and pass what manager we want to use for this screen. I choose vertical field manager. The pop-up screen is not transparent, so what we have to do is use a background factory to create a background. The background that we want to create is a solid transparent background. Black is the color that I choose, and 150 is the alpha level, which means it's semi-transparent. We set this as the background here, and after that we have to change the border of the pop-up screen. Even if we set the background to be transparent, the border stays solid. So we create a new border using edges object and transparent style. Edges object is just the size of the top, bottom, left and right edge in pixels. So I chose 1 pixel for each one of them. We set this border to the pop-up screen, and after that we want to add a couple of buttons. Those buttons I want to arrange horizontally, so I use horizontal field manager. So I create a HM horizontal field manager here. I create a button maxim which will be labeled with a plus, and that we'll use to maximize the screen. The buttons itself, they don't do anything unless you implement a listener which will listen for any changes, such as when we click on them. So field change listener calls its field change method when it detects that a user clicked on it. And in that method we just called our maximize method, which will change the screens later on. When we create a listener, we have to add that listener to the button, and then after that we have to add the button to the horizontal manager. We repeat the process for the second button, which is exit button. We labeled it as X, and we added a listener which, when detects a change, when it detects that the button was pressed, calls system exit, so it will basically exit our application. We add the listener to the button, we add the button to the horizontal manager, and very important, to add the horizontal manager to the actual screen. After the buttons, what I want to do is put some text on this screen. So I choose to put 3 lines of hello world separated by a separator field. I did not use the standard text field or label field. I created my own custom field. The reason why we are using custom fields is to avoid default settings from the themes. So each field is controlled by the theme, the selected theme. So all the colors, font sizes, fonts are controlled by the theme. And I don't want that in this application. I want all my fonts to be white. So what I had to do is I had to create a custom field which has only one parameter which is text that is going to display. We have to override two methods, layout and paint. Layout basically tells us what sort of size we require for this field. And that's set here, it's set extent command. And I want height to be the height of the font. In the paint method, we set the color to be white and then draw that text at 00 top left corner of the field. The maximize method that we call when we want to change the size of the screen has to do two things. Has to remove this screen, this pop-up screen from the stack and push a new maximized version of this screen onto the stack. So it pushes ES Screen Max, which we will have a look at here. ES Screen Max extends main screen, so it takes a full screen, and it's very similar to the previous screen. We again created a semi-transparent background and set this background to be the background of the main screen. The problem is this screen is not transparent because it has a main manager which is not transparent. So in the next line I have to get this main manager and set the background to be transparent. When you add two transparent backgrounds or semi-transparent backgrounds on top of each other, they add. So these two would be darker if I used the same alpha level 150. So I had to reduce the alpha level to 90 to pretty much get the same sort of transparency. After that, the rest of the code here is same. The only thing is I labeled the minimize button with minus and called minimize method instead of maximize. We added listeners, we added buttons, and we added the horizontal manager to the main screen. Then we added the same three custom fields, hello world, separated by our separator field. The method minimize has the same two lines as the maximize method, which removes the screen using pop screen method and pushes a new screen, which in this case is our minimize version of the screen, ES Screen Min. We had to add this code here to delete all the fields from our main screen and then create a fully transparent background and apply that fully transparent background to the main screen and to its main manager. If I don't do this, since this is a global screen, it stays painted in the background and I don't want that, so we wanted to avoid that. At the end I just called do paint method so it refreshes itself. This video has shown how to use field class, manager class and screen class in order to create basic and advanced UI applications. We also used background factory, border factory, buttons and field change listeners, and we created some custom components. Thank you for watching and goodbye.